and welcome to our first set and first trial where we have Napad and we have Obi on the Spirit, which Jen, as a Spirit main, I'm sure has lots to say, but just quickly to say we're on Ormond and we are going against, or we have Napad against X9 Clan, but I am joined here today with Jen and I am Lucky, but I will pass it over to Jen who has been very excited about this Spirit game and has lots to say. So over to you, Jen.
Thank you, Lucky. And absolutely, I get so excited every time that I get to cast a spirit set because I love spirit. Yeah, I'm a spirit main through and through. As we do see Null taking the first hit, it seems like Null might actually have Iron Will. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult for Obi to kind of deal with. Any spirit player knows that Iron Will is your biggest enemy. Especially if Iron Will is like paired with something like Light Footed or something like that. It is a pain. It is an absolute pain. So Obi unfortunately losing Null around the back, around the back of the map there, being able to get back into chase with Null here. First generator has been completed. We're going back into our phase to see if we can cut Null off, but it seems like we have lost Null again. Null is sneaky. The Iron Will is coming in extremely clutch for our Ada. We see a second generator being complete now as Obi is heading up the top of main to see if he can spot any other survivors maybe lurking around. And as we see, we've got Pain Res, Corrupt, Dragon's Grip, and Eruption. So Eruption is... I love using Eruption when it comes to Spirit, just because you can get around the map fairly quickly with Spirit. Obi's using Muddy Sports Cap and Rusty Flute. We don't get a great deal of options when it comes to add-on choices in comp. But even in just like normal everyday gameplay, I regularly run these two add-ons myself. It's turned out to be a little bit of a staple. Obi's choosing not to chase Null, even though we spotted Null in main. I think Obi's just planning on actually applying the eruption as much as possible. We see the pallet drop in the front of main going after Null again as we see our third generator for this match popping. This is unfortunately not a very good position at all for poor Obi to be in at the moment. X9 clan survivors are actually doing a really good job with keeping such high pressure, and we see the stun from Null on Obi, granting Null that little bit extra distance, and with Iron Will it's very easy to kind of stealth away. We did see Null back at that original tile, but I'm not sure if Obi just managed to maybe miss her, or potentially Obi just decided not to keep chase. Spotting our Arella note and going after Arella, we can see Tori lurking in the background there. Chasing Arella back towards Shack. And there comes our first down with Eruption play on, I believe that ended up being 3 separate generators, if I'm not mistaken. And unfortunately, Obi doesn't even get the opportunity to use a Pain Res stack. This has been quite devastating for Obi this match. How do you feel that the survivors have been going against Obi for this match, Lucky?
They've played exceptionally well, especially the Ada round that pallet here, just being able to to track the spirit so well. I know with her passive phasing, it becomes very even just that working. Everything seems to be working for the survivors in this trial. It seems like they can't do anything wrong. But no, very very well played. Just trying to buy some time here for our other survivors to be able to get to the other gate and get out. But I'm not all too familiar with how well spirit sets go, but I can sense that this has not been the best result for Obi, which has kind of been unfortunate finding the Ada with Iron Will, but we'll have to see how X9 do on the killer side, as we'll be going to a short intermission and shortly be finding out the reverse of this set. So stick with us and we'll be back soon. And welcome back everyone to the second trial of the first set, where we have X9 Lovejar over on Killer, on Spirit, on Ormond against Napad. And just looking at the perks here, it looks like he does have Noed, a very, very strong endgame perk. But it is a steep win condition for Napad. I think they have to get 0 hooks and everyone out, which is something that is not impossible, but very close to it. But I am here with Jen as well, and I can hand over to Jen, who I'm sure has things to say about Spirit. And first thing I've noticed is the skin that Lovejar is using.
Yes, I'm a big fan of this skin. It's probably one of my favorite spirit skins, if I'm being honest. So as we see, we've got Jar currently chasing Spitz at the moment around Shack, heading into Spitz was able to vault the window in Shack. Managed to take a second vault, hasn't gotten a tag just yet, but taking a tag just as he drops the shack. I was about to say shack generator. No, it's a shack pallet. Heading off towards the right hand side. Jar able to very quickly catch up. Second pallet going down. I believe actually that was our third pallet going down. And a very quick down with one generator already popped for Napad. This will be our first hook. So we've got potential pain res hook coming in here. Unfortunately, that actually wasn't one of our pain res hooks. So we still have 4 pain res tokens available. Seeing that there is a lot of progress on this generator. The generator popping in Jar's face. Another quick tag on our Nia, which is Courtney. Courtney heading off towards the back of main. And another very quick down. Jar is doing absolutely phenomenally at the moment. 2 quick downs. We've already seen 2 generators pop. Our first Hex Totem being taken out of the game, as well as our first pain res stack. Heading off towards where that totem actually was, seeing if we are able to spot someone, which we do. And another very quick tag here on our ace, which is Lincoln. Very, very good looking up to avoid the blind there from Jar. Ace originally taking off edge map, but then going back towards where the unhook was, which is a little bit unfortunate for our unhooked survivors, as Jar could very easily go back in for an immediate tunnel if he wanted to, but he manages to secure the down on Ace, getting another hook. This will be the 3rd hook of the game. Heading off back into main, spotting scratch marks, trying to track those scratch marks. Scratch marks ended, which indicated that our survivors stealthing a little bit to try and throw Jar off. Dropping God Pallet up the top of main, heading back down the bottom. It looks like Jar is going to be heading off to the hook again, maybe trying to secure this tunnel out, which it looks like that's what's happening. Courtney takes a hit. Ooh, unfortunate miss of the M1 there. Going to break the pallet while our Nia tries to go in for the blind, but unfortunately isn't able to actually hit that blind there. Very good tracking by Jar. Unfortunately missing the hit, but then very shortly securing the down on Courtney again. This will be Courtney's second hook. We still have 3 pain res tokens available for use as well. And the gen spread currently, we've got a somewhat nice-ish 3 gen up the top here. We see a little bit of progress happening on our tractor. A lot of progress, I should say, on that generator there. As the Ada runs off towards Shack, able to secure that pallet stun there on Jar. Stealthing around the edge of Shack. Jar not able to really locate exactly where Ada is, but we do see scratch marks heading up towards Little House. Ada's doing a really good job with just running edge map to try and trying to throw Jar off a little bit. How do you think our survivors are going at the moment, Lucky?
I think they're giving a very, very valiant effort. I know the win con was close to impossible, but this has still been a very, very good performance from them, as we see the Noed coming in, which is always a shock, but I wonder how prepared these Napad survivors are for this Noed, because it is very strong, and I'm sure it will surprise V1 if he manages to get tagged that this Noed's coming through. As we see, Spitz looked like he was trying to take a hit, but that's not possible against Noed, but he would not have known that, but now he does, and it looks like he is going down as well. So that's 2 down with Noed, as Lovejar does pick. Oh, close on the beam save. I believe that was Ace.
That was our Nia, yeah.
Oh, the Neo with the beam, sorry. But they are going to get Spitz off the hook and looking to try and buy some time for some wiggle progress. Not going to be enough, as V1 does get hooked. And of course, this set has already gone to X9, as they do just take the 3-man out. With Noed in play, very well played by both sides, considering the win condition. So X9 takes the first set, and we will be moving on to the second set, which I believe is Artist, after a short break. So stick around, and we'll be back soon. And welcome back to the second and final set, where we have X9 and we have Null on the Artist on Gashaven against Napad. As we see Spitz on the Jeff, Courtney on the Bill, and V1 on the Ada, and I can't read that last name, on the Ace. But yeah, going into this trial, Corrupt over on the 3-gen, which looks like a very close 3-gen at Shack. As we do find Ace, who is going to be taking a hit going around Shaq and does unfortunately get tagged by those birds. Nice placement by Noel. And now we're just going to send all three, which he manages to dodge. Unbelievably, he dodges all of them, but does end up going down anyway. But very, very nice spacing from Lincoln. Lincoln, I can read it now, to dodge those birds, as he is going to be in basement, which is a very, very rough for a first hook. Although it's not pain res, it's going to be difficult to get Lincoln out of this basement without losing a lot. But we will see if Napad can achieve that, as looks like Noel's going to be making his way, checking on main. There are scratch marks in mid. I'm not sure where they went, but he does manage to tag two people with the birds over at 10, over at the Gen by 10, who he is now just looking for, as we see Spitz here, going edge map, just trying to delay that hit as long as possible. The camouflage not quite working there, but Noel not committing, just making sure that Lincoln, who does get pulled from basement and prevented from going to second by V1. Very well played to communicate that and be able to get him out of basement, which is not an easy thing to do, as we see him drop Shaq, but does end up taking the hit from the birds, unfortunately, which is very, very hard to avoid. But the first gen does pop over there, I believe, at main. But unfortunately for Lincoln, back down to basement you go. And that is going to be the second hook of the game onto Lincoln. A pretty slow-ish start from both sides. I think the basement ended up slowing things down and not using pain res. Required a lot of coordination from our survivors to be able to get him out of basement without losing someone else really to going down into basement, as we do get the aura. I believe that's one of the add-ons to be able to see V1. Not committing though, going back to basement, as we do see, I believe it was Spitz off in the distance. Whether he went down or not, he did go down to get the pull. So now we're going to be in a bit of a standoff as someone does enter the locker. I believe this is head-on. Is this going to be a head-on standoff? Oh! I believe they just played a game of which one am I in? And it looks like he chose the wrong one and found Spitz, who was in the first locker, but he was looking for Lincoln. So, although unorthodox, very well played there by Napad in order to get Lincoln and buy him some time from being tunneled out, as he is able to make a main. As two gens do pop, but he does end up going down anyway. But very, very well played by Napad just to buy time to be able to pop those two gens also before they can hit pain res as well, which is very, very well played by Napad. But Noel being able to get his first kill at two gens and sitting at 4 hooks as he begins and continues to chase Spitz around Shaq, who's in a bit of bother at the moment, who I believe tries to do some crazy jukes with the firecracker, but not going to full null, who picks him up and looks like is moving to his second pain res over behind the broken truck. And the last remaining gens seems to be on 10. Shaq. Oh, and 8 and 1. So there is still a 3 gen. Very, very close to the hook. So doing main here would not be ideal in leaving a 3 gen, but we'll see how that plays out. As we just see, I think that was V1 just getting the birds of him in the locker. And Noel's doing a very good job here, just zoning the survivors away from the hook so they can't get that unhook. Moving towards Cartney just to stop him being able to wrap around Shaq towards Spitz. And it looks like Spitz isn't going to be able to be pulled in time, as just playing this game of cat and mouse with Cartney, stopping him moving round as Spitz does die on hook. So now we're down to 2 survivors, 2 gens, and it's not looking good for Napad. I'm not sure how well or how usual this result is for Artist, but it's not looking good at this moment in time, as he does check the locker just to see if someone was trying to be cheeky and stay in the lockers, which they weren't. Now it's a case of finding the survivors and stopping them from popping maybe 1 gen, as this looks like it is going to be a 4K1 or 4K2, judging by the gen pressure that Napad have. But I could be wrong. Crazier things have happened. As we see Cartney pre-running, doing a little ballerina 12 for Null, trying to entice him into to a chase. As main is the gem with the most pressure on, and the one that's most likely going to be popped, as we see Null just send out 3 birds. Trying to find V1, who's doing a very good job staying in the shadows and lurking and not being found, as Null's having to play this game of back and forth between Shaq and Main. It seems no survivors are in sight anywhere. And he's not even being able to get any instinct off the birds, which means that survivors are doing a very good job at stealthing and also communicating where the artist is, sorry, and when she is sending out birds and in which direction, which is something that is often not appreciated enough, as the comms on her birds sending out, which is something that's a key factor in these artist sets. But still not finding anyone, just going back and forth, kicking Shaq once again. And it looks like no one is still on main, whether they are calling out the birds or just playing safe remains to be unseen. But we do see scratch marks there. It looks like someone has been here. And we do find Cartney at main looking to get a bit greedier with the pressure on that Shaq gen, as I believe V1 will be working main to try and get that popped. Very well played by Cartney, moving away from the gen. Maybe able to make pallet, not able to make pallet, and will be taking a tag as main does pop. So this is looking more and more like a 4K1. As Cartney will be going to main, trying to utilize how strong this place is to loop, but looks like he is going to end up going down just by the car loop, and that will be the 3rd out of the 4 pain reses for Null, who has done a very good job in keeping that 3 gen there, which is something that I think Napad could have paid a bit more attention to in terms of which gens they were working on, but we'll find out if that becomes a defining factor or not, as he does hit the birds onto V1 over at 10, who does end up taking another hit from a second bird, who is in trouble, but will make the pallet, which, oh, nice dodge there from the Aidan. She gets the stun. V1 very, very cool, calm and collected. and just giving some friendly crouches, just letting Null know where he is, as this becomes a bit of a 1v1 practice for V1 and Null, as he does end up going down by the pallet with the gesturing. So that concludes the first trial of the second set, with X9 getting a 4K 1. So we'll take a quick break, set up the next match, and we will be back for Napad's turn on Killer and X9 on Survivor to see who takes this second set. So stick around, and we will be back very shortly. And welcome back, everyone, to our fourth and final set. We have Obi from Napad on the artist on Wrecker's Yard against X9. And Obi will be needing. X9 will be needing a 4K0 to secure this set win and take away 2 sets today. As we are on Gas Haven, apologies, not Wrecker's Yard. But we see the Arella there taking a tag over towards the corner past the cars, with Obi just sending out all the birds he has, and one of them hitting, and it looks like we have our first down. Interesting rapid brutality has been used by Obi, obviously looking to get those quick 2 taps and double downs, as he does get his first stack of pain res, which will slow down the gem progress a lot for our survivors at X9. But other than that, pretty similar builds from both sides in terms of killers. Other than the rapid brutality, as we see Null, our previous artist, taking chase, taking a tag, but not committing, says Obi, as he looks to ensure no one is moving over to get the unhook, but they do manage to get the unhook on to the Arella, and For the People comes out from Lovejar to ensure that no one will be tunneling this Arella today, as Lovejar looks like they're going to just take down in the corner. And if I'm not mistaken, this looks like it's going to be the second stack of pain res for Obi, who started this trial off very, very strong. No gens completed by X9. 2 stacks of pain res already. 2 hooks already as well from fresh and different survivors. But we do see our first gen getting completed over by the broken truck. So all that gen progress slowdown has taken a toll on X9, but not stopped them. As we do get an instinct telling us that there is a Renato nearby. We see him moving over towards 5. And he just gave a little hello around the corner and run back around. As we do get into a chase here with the Renato, who does take a hit not making it to the pallet, unfortunately. And heading towards the hook, as Lovejar does get unhooked, preventing him from going second, and we do see another gen pop. Not sure where that gem popped, but we see Spot the Arella, who is now in chase. 3 of the 4 survivors are now injured, which is not ideal for X9, but we see Obi trying to 2-tap with the bird and then the hit combo, but just choosing to take the M1, using Rapid Brutality to catch up to the Arella immediately, who is running around main and does make the pallet around main. Very, 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 very good for our survivors. And it looks like we're going to be leaving the Arella and finding someone else less close to main to chase, as main is such a strong place to take chase on this map. As we do catch up to the Arella again, who is edge map by 10, just trying to buy some time, does get tagged with the birds, and will now just be looking to waste as much time as possible, but can't waste any more as they do go down in the corner by 10, and this will be the 3rd hook for Obi, but X9 manages to pop another gen before 2 gens before the Arella is hooked and will be on 2nd stage, as Obi has some work left for him to do. X9 very, very efficient on these gens. Also very good gen spreads, unlike Napad. Oh, they do. It is still kind of a 3-gen, similar positions, but still quite far spread out across the map. But as artists, you can just send out birds to check very far gens, which we'll see Obi doing very shortly. As we do see a reset coming in for X9. As Obi will begin to secure this first kill on the Arella. Just trying to scare away and stop any survivors coming in for the unhook. Or at least make it a trade. As we do see a survivor lurking around, I believe that's Lovejar, lurking for the save, but we'll end up not going for it, as we do see our first kill from Obi at 1 gen onto the Arella. Now 3 survivors left. 1 more gen to pop. That gen sounded like it had about 20% progress, as we just see Noel sitting on the gen, not caring, but does move away and is in chase with Obi, as I believe... Oh, he does get tagged through the pallet. Unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate for Noel, who does get birded. I don't know if that's a term, but I'm making it a term. They did get birded. Very nice bird from Noel. Not from Noel, from Obi. As he manages to snipe someone else. He's on fire with these birds. As he gets another tag onto Lovejar. He's obviously turned on the aimbot. As mind game, as we see Lovejar playing this TNL very nicely, moves away from the TNL. Looks like he's going to opt... No, not opt for the corner. Go back to the TNL. Does he make the window, though? That's the question. He does make the window. Very, very well played from Lovejar. As they managed to get Null back up the ground and fully reset. And Lovejar being able to make it to main. Very, very strong. And just decides to hide in a locker to delay the pickup. Every second matters, but we see Obi dropping, knowing that these gens are going to be very close to popping, as he does catch 2 of them stacking the gen in mid, and they do manage to pop it, but not without taking a health state, as Noel is now in trouble and does go down. But that is the WinCon Met as they managed to get a 4K0 as Renato does pick up Lovejar off the ground. And it's now every person for themselves, just trying to get out, trying to survive. As we see Lovejar opting to take it to the corner. Right in the corner, right on the tree. And we'll see Obi now try and track down the last remaining survivor who Zaphis has managed to pick up Noel. And now it is just a game of everyone stay on the floor. Oh, and he manages to snipe him on the gate. I don't know if he was on the gate or just near the gate, but he manages to get him. Wow, what a snipe from Obi. But now we are back to the same scenario of two survivors on the floor and Zaphis taking it to Shaq, where it becomes a bit of a 1v1 once again, but he is going to end up taking a hit, choosing not to go into Shaq, and maybe trying to make his way to pick up someone, as we see just that value of rapid brutality, as we see him stop just to admire the view and does end up going down, but that is going to be the set win for X9 as Obi secures the 4K at 0 gens. Very well played by both sides. Very, very good game knowledge and awareness from X9, just being able to pop that last gen no matter the costs, which they managed to do in order to secure the win. So that's 2 sets to X9, and now we're just seeing the remainder of this trial playing out, as I believe we might get a Mori, or probably not, because we'll have to wait for a lot of the survivors to go to second. So now we are just counting down the clock, but very well played by Obi. Still has 2 stacks of pain res left that he didn't get to utilize, but it proved not to matter. Well, it proved to matter actually. Sorry, because X9 was the one who took the win. But very well played from both sides, and we now just see some side quests being done by Obi, just birding, as I've termed it, and is now trademarked. But that is it for these 2 sets by X9 and Napad. So yes.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. So that secures 2 sets to X9 Clan. Both teams played absolutely phenomenally with their games. They are both very, very good teams, and each of each of them should be quite impressed with their gameplay. Um, as always, it is such a pleasure to be co-casting with you, Lucky, and I hope to see everyone again very soon.